All right, let's call to order the Spark City Council meeting for Monday, January 26th with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell.
Here.
Anderson. Maybe. Is absent.
He's absent, yes.
Bybee.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan. Here. City Manager Louthan.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, our invocation speaker is Nancy Jepson. Nancy, where are you at? Here we go. Thank you.
I would like to share with you a unity prayer from the Baha'i Faith writings. O my God, verily, I invoke thee and supplicate before thy threshold, asking thee that all thy mercies may descend upon these souls. Specialize them for thy favor and thy truth. O Lord, unite and bind together the hearts, join in accord all the souls, and exhilarate the spirits through the signs of thy sanctity and oneness. O Lord, make these faces radiant through the light of thy oneness. Strengthen the loins of thy servants in the service of thy kingdom. O Lord, thou possessor of infinite mercy, O Lord of forgiveness and pardon, forgive our sins, pardon our shortcomings, and cause us to turn to the kingdom of thy clemency, invoking the kingdom of might and power, humble at thy shrine, and submissive before the glory of thine evidences. O Lord God, make us as waves of the sea, as flowers of the garden, united, agreed through the bounties of thy love. O Lord, delight the breast through the signs of thy oneness, and make all mankind as stars shining from the same height of glory, as perfect fruits growing upon thy tree of life. Verily, thou art the Almighty, the self-subsistent, the giver, the forgiver, the pardoner, the omniscient, the one creator.
Thank you. Ms. Bybee, will you lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. All right, let's move on to public comment. Okay, let's see. You have something. All right, Dean Sater, followed by Julie Ward.
Where do I go?
Right here, sir.
I've never done this before.
That's okay. We're just,
My maiden voice.
there's only millions of people watching you on YouTube. Just sit down there and the green mic is on and you have 3 minutes.
Well, Mr. Mayor, council members for the city of Sparks, clerks, attorney, thank you for letting me address you today. My name is Dean Sater, and I live on Diamondback Court. Diamondback Court backs up to La Posada at the east end, and half of the homes will have to be torn down to build the connector on La Posada per the study. I am speaking to you here today on behalf of all of my neighbors on Diamondback Court, except for one who has just recently placed their home up for sale. We are united in opposition to the proposed Northeast Corridor, as well as we refute a majority of the feasibility study. It is clearly evident that the proposed connector roads already has impacted our neighborhood, as anyone attempting to sell their residence will now have to legally disclose the potential connector roads. We shall soon see the impact this alone will have regarding the equity in our properties. At La Posada alone, the feasibility study indicates that there would be 2,600 vehicle trips per day. I think it's fair to assume that perhaps half of this traffic would be truck and trailer. And it is rumored that the mayor would like to see as much as 10,000 vehicles per day. The well-known health issues of people living within 1,000 feet of roadways is not even addressed. The noise level has not been addressed in the study. The pass-through traffic has not been addressed for either La Posada or the Vista corridor. Speaking of which, a two-lane road in the mountains, following a semi to get to USA Parkway and back, this appears to be too little, too late. This is not a complete environmental report. There is not a complete environmental report in this study. The impact on plant and animal life has not been addressed. At a cost of La Posada of $32.2 million per mile and $21.8 million per mile on Vista, it is assumed that this is a current cost, as my 40 years experience in construction scope, schedule, and cost evaluation would prohibit any accurate cost projection for the future. However, I have an extra crystal ball in my truck in case it's needed. As we understand, this study was commissioned at a cost of $25,000 per page. And to my knowledge, there is not an opposition study. Why not? To summarize, there are 450 plus homes in this HOA alone that could be affected in equity losses that could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per household. Assuming $250,000 in lost equity per unit, this would be north of $112 million in loss. In a litigation sense, adding legal fees, perhaps medical bills, and punitive damages would easily send this number much higher north. There would appear to be not to be any mention to the traffic impact to these neighborhoods or the surrounding neighborhoods. There would appear not to be any mention to the health impact that having this much traffic adjacent and so close to the residences. There would appear to be a lack of consideration for all these families that purchase their homes up here on the mountainside, specifically to find the peace and tranquility that we have had.
Thank you, Mr. Sater. We would ask that you wrap up your remarks now.
I've got one more sentence to make.
Go ahead.
The feasibility study does not factor in any emotional duress. And again, there are no funds presently to pay for any of this work. So how does that pan out? Thank you all for allowing me to speak.
You, Julie Ward, followed by Catherine Riles.
Hi, I'm Julie Ward, and I live next door to Dean Sater. I agree with everything he just said, and I just want to make the comment that I do understand that putting this out right now means that you get to spend less when you buy out the homes. Thank you.
Okay. Catherine Ryax, followed by Rebecca Nemsgren.
Good afternoon, everyone. Catherine Riles. I am in strong opposition of selling off Nevada public lands in Washoe County. I oppose the Northeast Connector. I oppose the destruction of the Paw Raw National Conservation Area. I oppose data centers, warehouses, and billboards on the Paw Raw Range. I oppose hundreds and thousands of homes being built, crammed in, stacked on top of each other, and on the Paw Raw Range and surrounding area. I have submitted detailed written public comment as to why I oppose the Northeast Connector. City of Sparks continues to urge support to obtain public lands in Washoe County for new development. Why hasn't affordable housing, childcare, and resources been made available in Story and Lyon County for all of the individuals that work at the RTIC USA Parkway area? There has been repeated statements made regarding there are not enough funds for roads in Nevada. Why hasn't any of the $700 million pandemic funds been used or applied towards widening I-80? And not, is my understanding that those funds are use it or lose it. City of Sparks partially closed the Vista Fire Station in Spanish Springs. Why hasn't the state of Nevada used any of the $1.24 billion in the rainy day funds to staff and have the Vista Fire Station fully operational? Nevada is where I call home. This is my community, my neighborhood, and my backyard. Enough is enough. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Rebecca Nemsgren, followed by Tom Kaczynski. I know I probably butchered that.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and council members. My name is Rebecca Nemsgren. I'm a homeowner and a resident of the Wingfield Springs community for the past 14 years and a lifelong resident of the city of Sparks. I'm here to respectfully request the city of Sparks support our community and dismiss the proposed plans to destroy the lakes course, to build 764 more homes. When we bought our home, it wasn't meant to be traditional. It was meant to be our forever home. We chose this community to start our family, raise our kids, and hopefully grow old here because we truly love this community. When we drive in and out of our neighborhood, we are honestly in awe of how beautiful it is. We are blessed with gorgeous landscapes and wildlife like coyotes, quail, geese, bobcats, bunnies, ducks, owls, and hawks. It's a reminder that this isn't just a place to live, but a unique environment that deserves to be preserved. Recreational spaces and open areas are essential. They're not luxuries. They're a part of what keeps communities healthy, connected, and safe. This is what makes our area feel like a home, not just another development. Families have so many activities right at their doorsteps: walking trails, bike paths, nature preserves, the community gym, and a swimming pool, and the Red Hawk Community Event Center that hosts all our holiday events for the neighborhood. This gives our kids a safe place to go, places for families to gather, and neighbors reasons to interact. My kids have grown up swimming at the pool since they were in diapers. They love going to kids yoga at the gym and playing golf at the Red Hawk Lakes course through the First Tee program. Destroying this landscape and building more homes is not what was promised when this community was planned, built, and when we purchased our home on a premium lot. Instead of walking out to a stunning landscape on the first tee box of the Lakes course, my family will now be walking out to hundreds of patio homes and condos if this development is approved. But I'm also speaking this afternoon as a former teacher of Washoe County School District and a wife of a teacher. I've spent many years in the school district, and I've seen firsthand what overcrowding does to the schools. It stretches teachers thin, limits resources, and ultimately affects the quality of education our children receive. Right now, my kids are in 5th grade at Van Gorder, and it is at maximum capacity. Next year, they'll be at Sky Ranch, which happens to be a new middle school and is already full. With the continued influx of new homes and families, I'm deeply concerned about the strain this will place on our schools in the area. When growth happens faster than infrastructure, our children pay the price. I'm asking the council to remember that the entire purpose of a planned development is so that families and businesses can look at this plan, understand what the area is meant to become, and make long-term decisions based on that plan. When people invest their lives and their savings here, we're trusting that the plan will be honored. Please support the Wingfield Springs community. And thank you, guys.
Tom Szynski, followed by Steve Burley. Did I butcher your name?
No, you did great.
Thank you. I usually am not very good at that. So,
Mayor Lawson, members of the council, and Mr. City Manager. For the record, my name is Tom Szynski. I am a homeowner in Wingfield Springs as well, and have been a resident of Sparks for most of my life. I'm here today to address a matter not currently on the agenda, but one which may soon come before you. That is the application to close Red Hawk Lakes Golf Course and replace it with nearly 800 high-density residents. The proposal is devastating to homeowners who invested in this community based on promises of outdoor recreation, open space, protected wetlands, and wildlife. Wingfield Springs is a crown jewel of the city of Sparks. If this space is lost, it cannot be recovered. As a 1994 master plan community, Wingfield Springs was designed with a specific vision that this proposal contradicts. Key concerns include traffic congestion, increased gridlock within the community, on Vista, and surrounding areas of approximately 200,000 cars or more. Strained public services, greater pressure on water, sewer, schools, police, fire, and emergency services. Impacts on property values. It's been estimated that the impacts could be in the neighborhood of 10 to 25%, which equates to multiple millions of dollars in lost property value for the owners out in that community. Preservation conflicts, violation of longstanding commitments to open spaces and wetlands. Ecological impacts, significant loss to wildlife habitat. Maintaining existing recreational assets is critical for our community. more specifically, our growing community. I urge you to exhaust all possibilities to help find a solution to the problem with the owners and to hold everybody accountable to the commitments made to our homeowners. As staff reviews this application, I trust the original 1994 framework and the full scope of the impacts will be considered. Most homeowners in our communities, leaders and citizens who know this area that we have spoken with, and I firmly believe this proposal fails to meet the standards of good development. Thank you for your time and your leadership on this highly important issue.
Thank you. Steve Burley, followed by Justin Uhart.
Good to see you again, Mr. Mayor. Steve Burley, members of the City Council. By way of background, I was the Director of Administration at the Regional Transportation Commission for 12 years. I'm opposed to the Northeast Connector. It will harm the community I live in. It will increase traffic, pollution, cut-through traffic, noise, and lighting. It is a symptom of poor long-range planning and growth that is not supported by our infrastructure. TRIC began in 2001. It's now 2026. We've known for 25 years that there would be congestion, traffic, and huge infrastructure costs. TRIC is not in Reno, Tahoe, or Washoe County. It's in Story County. Let them build the infrastructure. One elected official said that I-80 should have been widened 5 years ago, yet sparks continued to grow. Another official said there could be 50,000 jobs at TRIC, and that we could also have a $1 billion cost to replace our aging sewer system. There is no money, was repeatedly stated by the executive director of the RTC and others. So where's the money coming from? I think we all know as taxpayers. In many government communications, elected officials say the reason for development is build more roads. More roads build economic development. The true reason may be to underwrite the high cost of building roads for developers who wish to build houses in the Paha Range and increase urban sprawl. However, researchers from the independent Millikan Institute, publishing the Best Performing Cities report, state that well-run cities have controlled growth that allow for sustained development. And they cite Provo, Utah, and Raleigh-Durham. A report from the Urban Institute in 2022. Evidence shows that people living, working, and learning within 1,000 feet of highways are disproportionately subject to noise, air pollution that cause health problems, including lung disease, stroke, and premature birth. They also state that roadways reduce nearby residences' value. Here's a statement. It is also a damning indictment of local, state, and federal transportation and land use planning. This connector will be immediately adjacent next to 480 homes. Please focus on facts, not hyperbole and stoking fear. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Uhart, followed by Martha Green.
Do I pull up the slides here? I got it. And just display it.
Just do Control L and it should make a full screen. Control L.
Okay. Any second now. There we go. Okay. Good afternoon, council members. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Uhart. I'm a 5th generation. As you saw, my 2 twins are the 6th generation of Nevada. My family's roots were planted on the dirt in the state's farms and ranches long before the data centers arrived here out on Trick. As a rancher, I was raised to look at the landscape and see its potential and also its limits. Right now, our infrastructure has reached its limits and trying to push a 21st century economy through a 20th century bottleneck. And we are paving our history just to stand still in traffic. Some of you may recognize my name through the Route 91 tragedy. And I did not run, I stayed, I protected, and I saved lives. That experience, along with my military background and training, has taught me that when a crisis hits, you don't just wait for a solution, you build one. As you can see on the screen, I've come up with this idea for a gondola system. And today's crisis is the I-80, as my previous colleague was just talking about. There are over 155 crashes in the year, and that just is not a statistic to me. Those are people that I've stood next to. Stacked pallets and driven forklifts. I've worked in Tesla, Panasonic, and Redwood Materials. I have clocked the 12-hour shifts, and I know what sitting on a 2.5-hour I-80 traffic jam looks like afterwards. I know the exhaustion of factory life, and Northern Nevada is at a current breaking point, and the failing system is failing the people that are building our future. I'm not here to suggest another decade of road construction. I'm here to propose the Northern Nevada area gondola system. While others talk about billion-dollar tunnels and other proposing systems of highway that will take 10 to 15 years to complete, my infrastructure plan will be built in 24 months. By repurposing the LexJet Industrial Center, we will replace it with the state-of-the-art gondola hub. 15,000 workers a day will go through a consistent rotating gondola with 0 emissions, the wind-resistant cabins, and we will take 30% of the traffic off of the I-80 system virtually overnight. Council members, I stand before you today as a unique voice in the room. My ancestors saw the Nevada become a ranching powerhouse, and I literally helped build the batteries and materials that helped us become a tech powerhouse. And today I'm presenting an innovation that will keep us a global powerhouse. I'm the only person in Nevada that represents our past, present, and future with my 2 twins coming. Let's move forward with the study and show Nevada that we're not just here in a bottleneck. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha Green, followed by Ryan Slayton.
Good afternoon. My name is Martha Green. I live on Spanish Springs Road, and the traffic is horrific because they're all cutting through from Sparks Boulevard. But that's not the reason I'm here. I am here to remind the council that the Lakes Golf Course is not a vacant lot. It is an area teeming with life, filled with homes, the homes of wildlife, the homes of herons and eagles and lizards, coyotes, just to name a few. They have lived in this area for generations. Where are they supposed to go? There's no plan for how they will live once this golf course is closed and the bulldozers arrive. There are other places to build more homes, other places that are not as environmentally important as the Lakes Golf Course. Destroying this area will be an immediate and irreversible disaster. I ask you to think about the wildlife that supposedly we all love and oppose this development at the Lakes Golf Course. There's a saying that I hold close because I see the animals' homes destroyed all the time. And it goes like this. When a human's home is destroyed, oh, it's a catastrophe. But somehow when an animal's home is destroyed, oh, we call that progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Slayton, followed by Daniel Lange.
Good afternoon, council members, Mayor Lawson, City Manager Laughlin. My name is Ryan Michael Slayton. I'm a grade 3 operator at Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility, otherwise known as Tumworth. Tumworth is the largest reclamation facility of Northern Nevada. It holds one of the most stringent permits in the country, meaning our standards of treatment are higher than not only most of the state, but higher than the majority of the nation. Tumworth not only serves the city of Sparks, it serves the entire Truckee Meadows region. Tumworth is the greatest line of defense for the Truckee River and its final destination in Pyramid Lake, one of the sovereign nations of Nevada's Paiute tribes. Making sure that our waterways stay clean, not only for recreation, the health of our people, all plants and animals, especially our endangered and protected species of aquatic life. Tumworth's treatment is the gold standard. When I was hired on, I was told that this is a forever retirement job, meaning that once you start here, you won't leave until your time of retirement comes. Over the last 7 years of my employment, I have watched these terms fade away. Many have mentioned how Tumworth feels more like a training facility now. Build them to watch them leave to more money or better schedules at another facility that they can utilize the knowledge gained from here and be looked higher upon at their new location. The reflection of our retention and consistent scouting shows to prove this. I thoroughly love my job, and I feel proud of what we do. It is hard for myself to consider ever leaving with the offers of such stature. It may be hard for myself, but I am hoping you keep these thoughts with you, as it's not so hard for many of my fellow employees. But thank you all for your time.
Daniel Lange, followed by Valencia Ray. I got your name wrong when I wrote you back. My apologies.
All right. Hello, City Manager Luthan, Mayor Lawson, Council, and City staff. My name is Daniel Lange, and I also work at the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. I want to also start by saying how proud I am of where I work. Tumworth is one of the most advanced and innovative wastewater treatment plants anywhere, and it has been for decades. Every day, our work supports one of the region's most valuable assets, the facility itself, critical infrastructure that protects the Truckee River, public health, water quality, and the communities that depend on it. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of strong leadership, long-term investment by the region, and a dedicated, skilled workforce that keeps an incredibly complex system running safely and reliably. I'm proud to be a tiny part of that. But pride doesn't pay rent, it doesn't buy groceries, and it doesn't keep up with housing costs in the region. I want to be clear, the City of Sparks provides a solid overall benefit package. We recognize that. Health coverage, retirement, and leave matter. But benefits do not replace base wages. Base wages are what families live on. They determine whether someone can afford to take a job at the plant, stay there, and build a life there. Today, the skilled workforce responsible for operating and maintaining the largest and most advanced treatment plant in Northern Nevada earns some of the lowest base wages in the region and in the state for this kind of work. And we see the consequences of that every day. For years, it has been difficult to recruit qualified workers. Over time, it only has gotten harder. Candidates see the responsibility and technical demands, and then they also see the base wages. Many choose to go elsewhere. That increases overtime, strains the workforce that remains, and puts long-term knowledge and stability at risk. It's hard to explain to new employees who leave for other agencies after a year or two, and it's hard to reconcile with how often our facility is praised for its performance and innovation. Resolution 3485 shows that when the city finds mistakes in how compensation is calculated, it is willing to fix them. This gives us hope, not only because of what this resolution does, But also because we've seen the city become more willing to reassess longstanding systems when they no longer reflect today's realities. We saw it when Tumwark became its own department. We see it in the willingness to correct flawed compensation data. And that matters to the skilled workforce that has been asking for fair consideration for a long time. For many of us, this issue has been raised year after year without meaningful progress. This Friday, our union is going into mediation because the normal process has not delivered meaningful progress. And we continue to fall behind. We are not asking to bypass collective bargaining or special treatment. We're asking that the same principles reflected in Resolution 3485, accurate data, transparent accounting, market-based wages, and timely correction of inequities be applied to the workforce that maintains the city's most critical water infrastructure. The plan has grown, the technical demands have increased, the responsibility has expanded. It is reasonable to expect that the compensation system supporting the people who keep Tumwark running be evaluated with the same principles.
Thank you, Mr. Langen. We ask that you wrap up your remarks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Valencia Ray, followed by Claire LeBeau.
Should I begin? Or-
Start when you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Valencia Ray, and I'm a resident of the Highlands. In the interest of being concise, I present my current perspective on the Level 2 screening corridors, which were presented at the December 2025 RTC meeting in Sparks. At this meeting, the only discussion was on comparing the La Posada pathway over the top of the mountain to I-80 in comparison to the Vista Mountain pathway to bring the traffic from Northern Pyramid Highway from Spanish Springs to the I-80 interstate. The decision was made for the Vista pathway due to at least a $200 million plus in savings. This was all that was discussed. Within a month of this meeting, I randomly received last-minute notice from a neighbor that another proposal with a shortened deadline to January 16th was being presented by the same RTC board to create a 4-lane road running from the end of La Posada horizontally across the open space mountain range and crossing the backyards of both the Highland community and the Casaro Ranch at the foothills of Wingfield community, whose properties back up to this pathway also. Also, this path would somehow cross over the path through the recreational roads and fields and road to the community of the new homes located in Golden Eagle and end up onto Home Run Drive en route to the Vista I-80 proposal connector road discussed in December, thus disrupting the standard of living and health quality for these communities. I am finding inadequate effort is being made to notify people of these communities of this proposal to receive input. I want to emphasize that this is not simply a Highlands community issue alone, but also it is a Casaro Ranch at the foothills at Wingfield community issue also. So my concern today is that the map that is circulating, shared from the December meeting with our community entitled Level 2 Screening Corridors, does not even show the obvious existing pathway that connects the Spanish Spring traffic from the North Pyramid Highway to the new 4-lane roadway, Wingfield Hills Drive, as being in existence. Wingfield leads into the 4-lane Vista Boulevard, and when turning left from that point is only about 1 mile from Home Run Drive. It is a direct, straight route. In summary, my questions are, is the current proposed map simply outdated? Why does it not even show that Wingfield Hills Road exists? Why does it not highlight the influx of the congestion is coming from Pyramid Road on the map? The map is simply labeling a thin line at 445. It fails to show that other reasonable options beyond La Posada already exist. I have several other concerns, but due to lack of time, I will not be able to address them today, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Claire LeBeau, followed by Krista Gomez.
You got my name right? That's rare. LeBeau.
Weird, because I'm usually horrible.
Thank you all for being here today and the work that you do all of the time, not just today. I know it's not easy. There are so many people in this community, and we all love it, and we tell our friends, and dang it, they move here too. And so it's getting more and more crowded. And I understand that you have some serious issues to deal with the traffic and with, people who own property wanting to redevelop it differently. And I first just want to acknowledge that. Speaking about the connector road, one of my main concerns is that it's called a connector, but what it's going to connect to is neighborhood streets. When you look at the feasibility report, it shows La Posada, according to the report, having 4,575 vehicle trips per day, or Vista Boulevard through Golden Eagle, 3,919 per day. That's a lot of traffic that will funnel through a canyon where there's currently no homes or businesses, and then dump into just our city streets and our neighborhoods where our kids play and the buses go through, and, all of the traffic that we deal with already. There's an issue also when I spoke to RTC and I asked, how would you manage that traffic so that it doesn't cut through the neighborhoods? And they said with wayfinding signs. Well, we all use Waze or Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever. So a sign that says turn this way, people aren't going to follow that. They're going to go with what is told to be the quickest route through. And so I would urge you to step back and look at what can we do as a long-term solution here. We're looking at potentially, I stand with those who oppose it, potentially additional development in Red Hawk, which, as a side note, I understand that property owner has right to develop his property. However, people purchased homes with a certain understanding and with a master plan in place. So anything that's developed should follow the master plan. And to that end, before a connector road is built, there should be a master plan for what will lie along that road so that we don't build a road expecting only 4,575 vehicle trips per day and then seeing it multiply because we know there will be additional construction. As soon as there's a road there, you're going to get proposals for what can we build on this beautiful new highway. So rather than pass something based on what exists today, I would ask that you look at what is the long-term plan for this? How do we plan well for this community? How do we implement another long-term plan so that we don't crowd our streets the way they are now? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gomez.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Everybody at the Sparks City Council, they bring their papers. That does not happen at the county. So that's really nice that everybody's so prepared when they come here. I am Trista Gomez. I'm running for Washoe County Commission District 3. I also live in Sparks, and I moved from Spanish Springs because, really largely because of the traffic. I backed up to a common space. I had a beautiful home, but I spend 8 hours a week less in drive time living in town than I did out in Spanish Springs. 8 hours a week. That's dinner, that's workouts, that's time with your kids, that's climate pollution. That is a lot of impact to families on a day-to-day basis, a lot. It's a lot of impact on people's quality of life every single day. And like everybody here, I am concerned about the ongoing, unplanned development that's been taking place. I go to several meetings a week about development, and I talk to residents, I talk to neighbors. Their only concern is the loss of quality of life and the increased burdens and barriers that they find every day because of the lack of planning between the cities and the counties. The only concern they have right now. I've lived here my whole life, and I love this place. And I lived in Sparks, and I went to Sparks High and Robert Mitchell, and it was easy to get around. And people came here because of that quality of life. They came here because they wanted that piece of goodness in their life. And everywhere I go, every meeting I go to, that is just, it's not even just whittling away slowly, it is draining. And it drains people's pocketbooks, and it drains people's life, and it drains people's time, and it drains people's quality of life. And it happens every time. I'll give you one little stat. I just have a minute left. There are about 58 homes for sale right now in 89436, 89441, single-family homes. Or I'm sorry, in 89431 and 89434, so in town. In the other zip codes, there's 158 homes for sale. Those homes stay on the market longer. Those property values are going down because the infrastructure and the planning for those homes has not happened. There was a Wingfield Springs group, and what I told them is, you're not on an uphill battle for this Wingfield Springs development, you're on an inverted cliff battle. Because between the development, the developer's rights, and between the revenue needed by the city for the increase from the new houses, and just from the overall pro-build, attitude in the city, you will not win unless you have some kind of change in metrics. So that's all I'll say today, but it needs to be addressed. These people are asking you to.
Thank you. I have no more comment cards. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak under public comment? If not, I'll bring it back to the dais and we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Ms. Bybee.
My notes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move we approve the agenda with one change, moving item 7.3 in front of item 7.1.
Thank you. All right, I've got a motion.
Mr. Mayor, we just need one moment to change that motion.
7.3 before 7.
I'm sorry, I thought we notified you of the change. This would be a good time. If you don't want to sit through the meeting, go ahead. But if not, join the other millions of people watching us on YouTube. All right, I've got a motion, a second by Councilman Rodriguez. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously with Mr. Anderson absent. Minutes, I'm looking for any additions, corrections to the minutes. If not, I'm looking for a motion. Let's see, Ms. Vanderwell.
Move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for January 12th, 2026.
Mr. Rodriguez. Second. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on. 7.3, presentation of the 2025 Hometown Christmas Parade winners. I see a couple of them out there I recognize. You guys, thank you for participating in the Christmas parade. It is by far the funnest thing we do in our city, I believe.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and council members. I'm Raquel Montserrat, and your special event supervisor in Parks and Recreation, and I'm here to present the 2025 Christmas Parade winners.
Let me do a little housekeeping first. We're going to announce all the winners, then we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute recess. We'll go outside, take some pictures, and then we'll come back and resume the meeting.
Okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Okay, so first up, our winner for Best Business Group in 2025 is Thompson Garage Doors.
Where are they at?
Anybody here? Not here today.
Once you announce, you at least stand up so we know who you are, okay?
The winner for Best Animal Group is Washoe County 4-H Youth Development Clubs.
4-H, missed them, okay. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Our Best Community Group winner is Livingstone Spanish Springs.
Jones. Thank you.
Our Best Performing Group is Whitewater Spanish Springs Construction, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen, and the Sign and Design Shop.
Surprise.
And our best overall for 2025 is Hot August Nights.
All right. Congratulations.
I would also like to acknowledge our volunteer groups, Living Stones Church for helping with setup and serving hot chocolate, the Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows for taking Santa photos, and Hot August Nights for staging the parade. I'd also like to give a big thank you to our 2025 parade sponsors, Reno Tahoe, Nugget Casino Resort for sponsoring the tree lighting, Renewal by Anderson for sponsoring Santa Claus photos, our safety sponsor, Remsa Health, Camelot Party Rentals, who sponsored our marching bands, Sierra Electronics, and Copper Clover from Living Stones Church, our tree lighting band, who donated their performance this year. In addition, I'd like to thank Emily Pate, Jackie Martinez, Kate Faherty, Whitney Milligan, Julie Jewell, Cindy Began, and Lisa Hunderman for being a huge help on parade day. And finally, a huge thank you to Charlie Burns and the City of Sparks Public Works team for building the City Council float. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council, comments, anybody? I could tell you that was one of the better built floats I've been on.
Yeah.
Rails didn't move. And sometimes could be a little scary when you're standing up there and the rail moves. Joe, you got something? Okay, Charlene?
All right, thank you.
I just want to thank everyone, thank Raquel and all the volunteers. Hot August Nights, you guys had tons of volunteers out there. It couldn't happen without the volunteers we have. And it is such an amazing community event. And boy, we got so lucky on the weather. We couldn't have asked for a more perfect day. And I've been doing this a long time and had really, really cold. One year we had hot. We were all bundled up and it was, so really the weather was perfect. I love it because it's such a family event and it really is what Sparks is about, is family friendly, business friendly. And I really think that that says it all. And Charlie and our float builders, holy cow, you guys just have to do yourself every year. It's exciting to go see what our float is going to look like because they do an amazing job. So thank you to everyone. It is the best thing we do here in Sparks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's take a 5-minute recess. Let's go take some pictures. We'll get back to the business of the day.
Excuse me. The very first picture you shared was the key
quorum without Donna. Call the meeting back to order with, what are we talking about? Water Authority. Thank you. I just messed myself up. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Danny Rotter. I'm the Assistant General Manager at Truckee Meadows Water Authority. This is Cara Steelan. She's a Senior Hydrologist and Upstream Watershed Coordinator. That's a long title, but she does a ton of work on this. Really appreciate all of her efforts to date. And we're just here to kind of share a little bit about our water resource plan that was published recently and answer some questions if there are any. So this version is taking us out through 2045 Water Resource Plan. It's the 5th version since Tumwa's inception almost 25 years ago. And this time around, we created what we're calling an at-a-glance report. It's about 10 pages or so, has some QR codes. We'll leave something there at the end for anybody that wants to check out more. But that's really a key thing for any of you that are getting questions about water. There's a lot of facts there that you can dive deeper into, but it really gives you a high-level understanding of where we are at with our resources and our planning. Tumwa does a lot of planning, and this is just one piece of our plan. We're talking about the facility plan in the top right there. We do a 20-year projection and even out to the end of the century in some cases. We also do that's the upper left, sorry. The upper right is the facility plan, which says, okay, where are we gonna get that water to? What size pipes, pumps, tanks do we need to get there in the next 20 years? We update that every 5 years. And then we update our funding plan annually and project that out 5 years. And so each of the things that play into that are our rates or our facility charges for new growth. So with that, I'll hand this off to Cara.
Great, thanks, Danny. Cara Steelan for the record. This is pulled right from our plan. So as Danny mentioned, our water resource plan is one element of planning at Tumwa. And the goal of the water resource plan is really to ensure that Tumwa has adequate water resources to meet the needs of the community for the next 20 years and beyond. And through that, we evaluate and implement innovative solutions to best manage those resources. And one of our key goals is to maintain a really transparent process as we do that, so the community feels comfortable knowing that as we do continue to grow, as we see climate variability, we still have sufficient water resources due to the decades and decades of great planning that has come before us. And then, of course, we recommend management strategies and policies to guide staff and board over the next 5 years. We take into account customer feedback to try to understand what the community is most concerned about. And so we do a semi-annual customer survey where we basically try to get a quarter of our customers every 6 months so people don't kind of get survey fatigue. But in fall 2024, the topics that were most reported on by respondents were maintaining the high quality of drinking water, keeping water affordable, and then people often have concerns about sufficient water supplies during droughts and meeting the needs of a growing population, which are pretty consistent concerns that we see among our customer base. So a key component of our plan is looking at population and growth and water production, both historically and into the future. So this graph shows historic use. The green line graph shows population growth in all of Washoe County. We serve about 90% of Washoe County. And so you can see, obviously, the population has been steadily increasing over time. The blue bar graph shows our production, and it's in acre feet, which is what we typically use kind of in the water resource world. For context, a home generally uses about, like a third of an acre foot. So you can see that we're at about 90,000 acre feet now across our whole service territory. And you can see over time that the water use was much higher, and then it dropped pretty significantly during the recession. And then it's kind of started to increase again. There is variability there based on what the weather is doing as well. And then looking out 20 years, this is our water demand projection. So this is kind of the heart of our plan. And you can see that over the next 2 decades, our demand is projected to rise approximately 1.8% annually. So about 20 or 17,000 acre feet over the next 20 years. I will say in most of our plans, we do take a fairly conservative approach with this projection. And we typically come in lower than what we project. As you can see, water use hasn't been increasing rapidly, even with growth. This looks historically at our sources of supply. And so you can see that we use surface water and groundwater And so we use about 80 to 85% surface water in most years and 15 to 20% groundwater. The purple on here is our privately owned stored water and credit water. So under the Truckee River Operating Agreement, which was implemented in 2015, we're able to store water in the upstream reservoirs. And that water is basically only used during drought years when we really need to supplement water supplies. And it's only been used about 6 times in the last 35 years. So it's a great backup supply for our community to have. And as I show some of the projections into the future, you can see how important it is for our community moving forward. Looking out into the future, this graph, looks at just Truckee River water rights, so just our surface water rights. So there's a set number of water rights on the river. It's about 226,000 acre feet. No new water rights can be created. And on this chart, the colors that are important kind of for this context are the brighter blue line, that the bar that has been growing over time. That's TUMA-owned water rights. And so the kind of the darker green color is agricultural water rights. And so what we've really relied on over time as the region has developed is the conversion of those agricultural rights to municipal and industrial water rights, as basically kind of ranch land has been converted into development over time. There's about 40,000 acre feet left out in the community. And so we're relying on a portion of that moving forward as the region continues to develop. One of the reasons we have seen kind of a steady growth in our water supply, or even a kind of a stable growth, is mostly due to our water conservation programs. TUMA was formed in 2001. Prior to that, customers were not metered. We put in meters to all of our customers and recently just finished an advanced meter infrastructure program. So all of our customers now have smart meters and have really kind of real-time leak detection capabilities. So that's a huge portion. So if people know how much water they're using, they tend to use less or be smarter about their water use. We also have our assigned day watering with our water efficiency codes and our water conservation consultants that make sure customers are following those codes. Tiered rate billing structure, and we do a lot of education and outreach. And also we do water usage review programs to help customers identify leaks and give them information on how they can repair those leaks. Looking at residential per capita water demand, a little different than the previous graph, but you can see over time water use per capita has decreased and kind of stabilized. And the top green line shows the total use, so the actual water being used, and the bottom line is consumptive use, so accounts for the water making it back to the Truckee River through Tom Wharf. And you can see again, water use was much higher, kind of 20 plus years ago, and has stabilized due to those conservation programs. This graph is a really high-level overview, and if you are interested in it, please take a look at the at-a-glance report or even the full water resource plan. We look at, the water resource plan is really a 20-year projection, but we look at climate variability through the end of the century. And so basically this looks out to 2098. It takes into account 8 different climate models and different scenarios. And so basically what we wanted to do was kind of stress test our system to see what would happen with kind of a hypothetical demand out into the end of the century, if droughts were more severe, if we got more rain instead of snow. And you can see that we basically are able to, because of the great planning that came before us with the Truckee River Operating Agreement and other initiatives, we're able to really meet that demand. We do see some really minor shortages in the most severe scenarios towards the very end of the century. And that's why we do this planning, is to identify ways that we could potentially alleviate any future issues. And so one solution is to expand our aquifer storage and recovery program, which is where we take treated surface water in the winter months and inject it into our groundwater wells, basically to boost the aquifers and create a groundwater bank. And so this graph shows that if we were to expand our aquifer storage and recovery program, which is something we're actively working on, it would alleviate future shortages. So that's the sort of planning that we're these are hypothetical scenarios, but that's why we do this planning, is so a lot of these projects take decades to put into place. So we want to make sure we're getting ahead of that. Again, this is kind of a list of other future potential water resources, and that all are outlined in the plan with benefit and challenge tables. And that's the whole reason, again, for the plan, is to be able to look at those and start to think about this. This is not a capital improvement plan. This is not an infrastructure plan. These are kind of high-level ideas, and then they would be implemented moving forward. We also do a lot of effort, we have a lot of efforts around protecting the watershed and environment. So we work with a lot of upstream entities to ensure that we have the amazing water quality that we do. So working on forest management work with the Forest Service upstream to protect our water supplies from high intensity, high severity fires. We work with One Truckee River on multiple initiatives such as installing restrooms along the river. And we work on an integrated source water protection plan with all of the other entities in the region to try to ensure that development doesn't impact our surface or groundwater supplies from a water quality perspective. We also have our 3 hydroelectric plants, now almost 4 hydroelectric plants to offset our power costs. And so really the key takeaways from this plan are when people, talk about growth in the region and, you often hear that there's not enough water, but really because of all of the great planning, we do have sufficient water rights to address the region's growing water demand over the next 20 years. We have a really resilient and reliable water supply. We have our recommended strategies and near-term actions that are going to guide us over the next 5 years and beyond. But this is really an evolving document. We don't just do this every 5 years and put it on a shelf. We're constantly looking at what's going on in the region and adapting to that to ensure that the community has a reliable water supply for generations to come. And with that, Danny and I are happy to take any questions. This is the QR code that will take you directly to that tumwa.com/WRP 2025, which includes the full plan and the at-a-glance report.
Questions from the council? Anyone? I have a question. I was told this many, many, many years ago that Tumwa did a study and took the worst 8 years of drought, ran them back to back to back for 20 years, and we still didn't run out of water. Is that still in the? That was our 2016 water resource plan, right when TRO was implemented. And because the Truckee River operating agreement allows us to, during drought years, to carry water year over year in the upstream reservoirs, it provides that resiliency that we could weather a multi-year drought. I think that's one of the largest fallacies that's out there is that we don't have any water, which is not true. But the other side of this is direct potable reuse. Are you guys looking into that at all? And how does that affect your business model?
Danny Rotter, for the record. Yeah, it was on that resource list of future resources for the community. We're currently getting ready to go to construction on the American Flat Indirect Potable Reuse project in partnership with the city of Reno. And with that comes getting ready for direct potable reuse, which is the next step. So we're working on some regulations with the Southern Nevada Water Authority and the state to get ready for that. And then really that IPR project, the Community Engagement Center, Education Center, will really pave the way for direct potable reuse in the future. And so all of those resources come with their own challenges and costs and so on and so forth. But it is on the radar, and we always are talking with City of Sparks staff all the time with how to meet all of our challenges together. So hope that answers your question.
If there's some way we can help on that, because I know Las Vegas finally gotten serious about it, and because they are in a worse position than we are, obviously. But yeah, there's some way we want to help from the City of Sparks venue. Anyone else on the council? Any questions? All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Now, from not enough water to too much water. Our presentation, draft Truckee River Flood Management Authority Capital Improvement Plan for 26-27. Thank you, George, for coming out and briefing us on this. We have the chairman of the Flood Board on our dais with us today. That's the chairman is sitting on the dais.
It's all his fault.
It's all his fault. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
There we go. Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be here. Under our interlocal cooperative agreement, we are supposed to offer to tell you what we're going to be doing
with our capital improvement plan each year, where we offer, you don't have to accept. And this year you did accept, and I think it's a good year for you to accept because we do have some exciting plans going on in the area around Sparks. And so I think that you would like to hear about that. And I know there's people that are on my board that know everything. And there's a whole spectrum of what you know and don't know about TURFMA. And so this slide here is just say who we are. We're a joint effort, Cities of Reno, Sparks, Washoe County, and there's numerous other stakeholders like Story County and the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe. And we work together on trying to reduce the devastating impacts of flooding along the Truckee River. So we're focused on the Truckee River and its immediate tributaries. And we do this by building infrastructure and managing the floodplain. And since 2011, we have been this independent authority with a 6-member board. That way, every city and the county itself all has a say in it instead of being up under the county. We are funded by a tax from the county that was implemented right after the 1998 or 1997 flood in 1998. And we have a multifaceted mission. We want to improve floodplain planning. We want to develop and improve models, that's mathematical models and maps that better support planning and you know, what you can expect, help people when they're doing developments near the river to get this right. We also support emergency responders. These maps also help tell them like, hey, you better not try that road here in 2 hours because it's going to have 6 feet of water on it probably. We can say things like that with the type of models that we have developed in the last few years. And then finally, we work, and this is the major part of what we do, 80% of our budget will be this, we're either saving for this or doing this, is build flood mitigation infrastructure. And it's been that way ever since I've been here. We're planning and designing and constructing flood mitigation projects like the picture below, that was from 2009. But the idea would be, is we want to have a cohesive flood management project that goes from the freeway down to Vista Narrows to protect the airport, the Sparks industrial area, and the Reno industrial area. So those 3 areas, which I'm gonna get ahead of myself if I don't start flipping these slides. This particular project, which is the major bulk of what we wanna do for capital improvements, is geared to prevent roughly about $2 billion in damage if we had a large flood like we had in 1997, or a little bit bigger than what we had in 2005. Those kind of floods can cause tremendous damage. And I know a lot of you here know this because you live in Sparks. You remember 1997. Some of you lost one person, at least one person here lost their job. Another person lost their family's business, things like that. You guys all know this. So I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's very important. And it's literally on the order of over $2 billion that this project could save any flood like that. And the tax revenue and everything from all those lost businesses, the downtime at the airport, all that put together really puts a strain on the city budgets and the county budget as well. So these are things we're trying to prevent with this project. And this project, it prevents, like from that one flood alone, about 200 or 2 billion plus. It cost about 200 million to build. If you do a year by year and go Monte Carlo and go do some wild math that I can't explain in a 10-minute talk, it's about a 4 or 5 to 1 benefit cost ratio. The benefit is about 4 to 5 times as much as the cost of the project with the loan and all that kind of stuff. So it's for the cost forward, not the total cost, because there's sunken costs already, whether we build it or not. Now, the other thing is TURFMA has been saving money for this project, especially for Vista Narrows, which many of you are very familiar with. Vista Narrows is a project on the east side of Sparks that if it's built, and you can see it there over on the right-hand side, if those terraces are built, we would lower the water level such that the North Truckee Drain can flow a little bit better and be lower and not back water as much. And also, it lowers the water level from all the other projects we're going to do because we're drying out the Sparks industrial area, we're drying out the airport, we're drying out GSR, and we're drying out the Reno industrial area. So with that, it's a very important project, but we actually have the money now to do Vista Narrows. We are just waiting on permitting, and right now we are going to final design. The board just passed that, thank you, board, but we are moving towards final design by the end of the year. And hopefully next year, we're going to have shovels out and we're going to be breaking ground early next year on this project, because this is a foundational project for all the other projects because it lowers the water level and makes it so we're not making it worse with taking away water from one place, but adding it somewhere else. So what are our projected costs? Our projected costs, and this is of course a long-term plan like Tumwa is doing. And unlike Tumwa, TURFMA has not really done the longer term planning for quite a while. And about 2 years ago, I decided, hey, we have to have a strategic plan on how we're going to do this. And so now we have a strategic plan that feeds in to these 5-year capital plans. And so you can see here, each of these costs, some of them are much more exact than others because there's more level of design going into these estimates, but it's about $202 million. And each of these has at least an engineering cost analysis. Some of them actually have fairly intricate cost analysis, such as Vista Narrows. So in addition to our core project, we do have targeted projects, and targeted projects are projects where we are working with a community that really wants to get something done. So this morning, I was with your good friend to the west, Reno, where we were starting off a project to build up a berm to get that up to 14,000 CFS to protect a neighborhood up to the 50-year event. And it's about $1.5 million project. That's a target. That's an example of a targeted project. That's Riverside Drive. Another targeted project we had years ago was helping out with the North Truckee Drain. We gave a sum of money for that. We gave a sum of money for the Virginia Street Bridge. And you can see these other listed ones here. Another one we've done is down at Wadsworth. There was a trailer court that was going to be flooded and it was going to get worse because of our project. So by replacing the bridge and making it wider, we were able to make it better than what it would be without our project. So that's a mitigation project. So these are the kind of projects we do in addition. These are over the next 5 years or so, $8.1 million and change. So if you look at our funding outlook over the next several years, do we have enough money to do all this? Quick answer, when you see red with a big negative sign, that means we don't. But we do have a cash flow of about $8 million a year that we can use for paying off loans. And if you look at that, under current interest rates with bonding or a loan program, we are likely to be able to borrow up to $120 million. So we do right now have a little bit of surplus to be able to finish this project if these costs hold, if our revenue stream holds. But under the current conditions with no extra grants and anything else, we can do it. And of course, we're always looking for grants. We're always looking for lower cost loan programs, et cetera. But we wanted acid test this and make sure it's feasible. So I'm not just, throwing out a line. And that was part of doing a strategic plan to actually figure this stuff out and not just guess about it. So the targeted and mitigation projects, these are what we'll be spending over the next 5 years on these. This is basically what you have when you do a a CIP or a capital improvement plan. And you can see that there's a flow of these things for the different, these are the targeted projects, and there's some work being done right now on Riverside Drive over the next couple of years. There's work on home elevation. There's work on the Wadsworth mitigation to still spend next year. And you can see this flow, and do we have enough money is the kind of question. And then we can put these all together with our main projects over the next several years. And you can see that over the next 5 years, we're talking about $180 million of capital improvement, which we would have to take out a loan. If we go back a few slides, we would have to take out a loan starting in 28, 29 to make up the difference. But we do have the cash flow and the saved money to be able to start these projects. We actually have the money to do Vista Narrows now. And it's a very exciting time because we are doing Wadsworth right now. We're in construction. Construction started today up at Riverside, and we're hoping that construction starts sometime next year on Vista Narrows. So that's basically where we're at with our capital improvement plan. And we have a pretty set way of how we're going to try to spend money. Of course, all of this is up to Donald over here because he's our chair. But Donald's been doing a great job, so I hope we'll be fine. And we just want to avoid something like this again. I know it turned out great for you guys with the marina, but at the time, it didn't look so hot. Questions, if you have any.
Questions from the council? Anybody?
Thank you.
George, thank you. I know this is a lot of work, and you've done a great job over the, it's been a long time now, hasn't it? Been 6 years?
Yes, a little over 6 years.
6 years. And we're not going to let you retire, just so you know. You think you're going to get to retire, but you're not.
Okay.
But no, you've done a great job. Thank you so much. I think we're on a pathway that has a good future towards it. And the good part is we have the money. We don't have to go anywhere with our handout.
This is a side thing, and I don't know how much, I'm not even sure I should say this, but right before Mayor Smith died, he gave me a challenge coin. And, I'm about ready to start crying. But he gave me this challenge coin. He said, George, you need to build Vista Narrows. This is your challenge coin. You do this. And I'm taking it seriously, guys. I'm taking it seriously. He didn't die very long after that. I gave him a challenge coin. A lady gave me this coin. I said, buddy, you need to pray for your healing, because I didn't want him to retire either, if you know what I mean. So, this is something that this is something that's more than just a job for me. If it was just a job, I'd already be retired. So I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity, especially Donald, Ed, and Ron Smith was our chair for a long time, and I really respected him. And just thank you all for everything you do for supporting this project. And in turn, we want to give you a benefit in return. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Has a question.
No question, just more comments. Just, it is an exciting time with Turbine, with your leadership, as well as, shout out since you brought up Mayor Smith. He helped us get to this spot where we got some great progress happening, where I think we see some light in the tunnel, and we hadn't for a while. It's kind of just treading water, it felt like at times. But especially a big shout out to your leadership. You have a great team of staff that obviously it's not just you that's doing it all. There's some exciting things for our whole region happening. And, go back to the flood in 97, it touched a lot of us that were here, and hopefully it never has to be a thing again in the future, knock on wood. But just big shout out to you and your team. And it's an exciting time in the flood project. We're doing a lot of good things over there.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to consent items. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I am looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
I move to approve agenda items 8.1, 8.2 as submitted.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. General business 9.1, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of a professional services contract, AC 6172 with Atkin Realis in the amount of $249,579 for the Phase 1 of the Storm Drain Master Plan Amendment.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Becca Epstein, Senior Civil Engineer. Today's staff request approval of a $249,579 professional services contract with Atkins Realis for Phase 1 of the Storm Drain Master Plan Amendment. This amendment would be funded from the Sewer Enterprise Fund. Master plans are helpful guides that identify areas of improvement and assist with both immediate and long-term planning efforts. To keep the vision of the master plan relevant, periodic updates are recommended. The city's storm drain master plan was developed by Atkins Realis in 2011 and has not been updated since. To complete the amendment, storm drain projects constructed after 2011 will be added to the system model, and different scenarios will be analyzed to identify needed improvements. After the analysis is complete, an updated list of capital improvement project recommendations and associated costs will be provided for city staff consideration. Another component to this amendment is converting the modeling software, as the current version is outdated and no longer supported. Due to the amount of work anticipated to convert the modeling software, the amendment is proposed to be completed in 2 phases. Phase 1 would be executed in fiscal year 26 under this contract, and Phase 2 would be presented for council consideration and execution in fiscal year 27. Please see Exhibit 1 for the Phase 1 limits. Phase 1 includes the older areas within the city of Sparks, as these areas could be most in need of improvement. This amendment will support the continued integrity and reliability of the storm drain conveyance system. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay. Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve a professional services contract AC-6172 with Atkins Realis in the amount of $249,579 for Phase 1 of Storm Drain Master Plan Amendment.
Mr. Rodriguez.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
9.2, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a construction contract AC 6171 with Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount of $374,007 for the 2026 street cut permanent patch project bid number 25/26-004, PWP #WA-2026-103.
All right, well, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Andrew Jankra, your transportation manager. I have here before you a construction contract for our 2026 street cut permanent patch project. This is an annual program where we go back and permanently patch roads that has been temporarily patched or street cut by permittees doing infrastructure or utility work. This allows us to better manage and oversee where the best patches are placed and better aligns with our road program. Permanent patching helps us maintain our roads' durability and integrity and keeps our roads safe and provides a more reliable travel for all road users. This program is fully funded by permitting fees paid by permittees. 2 bids was received on this project, with Sierra Nevada Construction being the low bidder. Staff recommends council approve the construction contract for the 2026 street cut permanent patch project with Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount of $374,007. Happy to answer any of your questions.
Questions from the council? Ms. Bybee.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you. Will this be throughout the city, or how much?
Yes, it's throughout
How much, so it's spread out, it's not in one ward or another, you've got it spread out to determine where the patches are needed?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve a construction contract AC-6171 with Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount of,
Pardon me?
Curveball. Pause.
She might be answering.
Good afternoon, Amber Sosa, City Engineer.
There we
Better?
go.
Good afternoon, Amber Sosa, City Engineer. Just to further answer that question a little bit. So it is intended throughout the city, but it's dependent on where the permits come in. So if people are requesting more permits in one area versus another, or depending where maybe NV Energy needs to fix a valve or TOMWA, it can be anywhere. So it's not necessarily a list we generate to where patches are needed. It's responding to the patches that were needed by permittee holders.
Big different from our other.
Yes, and other patching that you would see, yes, is related more to preventative maintenance and corrective maintenance. This is a direct patching program to our permit holders, our street cut permit holders.
One of our 32 check-in accounts. Okay, so let's start over, Ms. Vanderwell, on the motion, please.
thank you. I move to approve a construction contract AC-6171 with Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount of $374,007 for the 2026 Street Cut Permanent Patch Project, bid number 25/26-004, PWP-WA-2026-103.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.3, consideration, discussion, and possible acceptance of a grant AC 6170 from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation in the amount of $19,300 to support the Leisure Without Limits program for 2026.
Right. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Emily Pate, Parks and Recreation Administrative Manager. I'm before you today requesting your acceptance of a grant award from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation in the amount of $19,300 to support the Leisure Without Limits program for the 2026 calendar year. These funds will support both our annual events and weekly enrichment programs for individuals with disabilities. Our signature annual event, the Mark Wellman's Adventure Day, is held at the Sparks Marina and offers participants opportunities such as rock climbing, adaptive cycling, and kayaking. On June 5th, 2025, the event served approximately 150 participants and hosted 25 informational vendors. Leisure Without Limits weekly enrichment programs continue to experience strong growth and participation. Our bowling league, held at Coconut Bowl every Wednesday, recorded 2,700 athlete participations in 2025 and now averages 50 to 60 participants each week. Additionally, our weekly art class, held every Thursday at the Larry D. Johnson Community Center, served 740 participants in 2025. Throughout the year, Leisure Without Limits hosts 4 themed dances, including Christmas and Halloween dances at the Recreation Gym, as well as 2 dances co-sponsored with the City of Reno. In 2025, approximately 800 participants attended these events. We also co-sponsor a bocce league with Special Olympics Nevada at Ardmore Park, which served 150 athletes over the 8-week program held from June through July last year. In total, more than 4,500 participants took part in our Leisure Without Limits program in 2025. The Nell J. Redfield Foundation has been a valued partner since 2009, providing a total of $435,200 in funding to support these inclusive recreation programs. We sincerely thank the foundation for its continued commitment to the City of Sparks Parks and Recreation Department and to the individuals and families served through Leisure Without Limits programs. Based on the impact and success of these programs, staff recommends acceptance of the $19,300 grant award from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation to support Leisure Without Limits programming in 2026. Be happy to answer any questions for you.
Questions from the council? Pretty easy to accept money. That's not a hard job.
This is an easy one to bring forward.
Yep. All right, looking for a motion. Ms. Spivey.
Thank you. This is like an amazing, amazing program. I love all the different things you're doing and people that you're serving. It's important. With that, I move to accept the grant AC 6170 from the Nell J. Redfield Foundation in the amount of $19,300 to support Leisure Without Limits for 2026.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.4, consideration, discussion, and possible acceptance of a gift from Creative Gardens, Inc. for the design, construction, and installation of a play yard to be located at Larry D. Johnson Community Center, valued at $69,850.
Good afternoon again. Emily Pate, Parks and Recreation Administrative Manager. I'm before you today asking for your consideration and possible acceptance of a gift from Creative Gardens, Inc. In August 2025, Small Wonders Learning Center, Marvin Moss, relocated to the Larry G. Johnson Community Center. Shortly after the new location opened, CJ Sanders, owner of Creative Gardens, kindly offered to donate the materials and labor to install a 20-foot by 20-foot play yard to be utilized by the Small Wonders participants at LDJ. The estimated value of the play yard is $69,850 and includes design, materials, construction, and installation. Staff recommends the acceptance of this gift, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
Excuse me, I move to accept the gift from Creative Gardens, Inc. for the design, construction, installation of a play yard to be located at Larry D. Johnson Community Center, valued at $69,850.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.5.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Emily.
you.
9.5, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of an interlocal agreement, AC 6173, with the Washington County Sheriff's Office for forensic services for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount not to exceed $1 million.
No sense.
No sense.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. For the record, I'm Chris Crawforth, your police chief. Item 9.5 is a new contract with the Washington County Sheriff's Office for forensic services for this fiscal year. This will replace the current contract that was approved last spring. The Sheriff's Office has not billed for any use this fiscal year to date, as they expected to complete the billing study that brought forth this new contract. The contract is for a not to exceed amount of $1 million and is funded each fiscal year within the police department budget. As you are aware, the Sheriff's Office has been working on a billing study for a new system of forensic billing. Due to improvements in the science, the crime lab has identified a new system that allows us to choose which tests we would like to perform based on each case's need, thus reducing costs and time. Sparks Police Department has worked diligently to limit the number of items sent to the lab. These combined actions will ensure a better stabilization of costs moving into the future for the city of Sparks and our police department without a reduction in service. The cost of the services each year is based on use. The Sheriff's Office completed a review of last fiscal year's use and determined the costs last year utilizing this new billing system would have been approximately $550,000, whereas we actually paid $1 million. A request was made to provide credit for the overage paid by the city of Sparks last fiscal year. Our city manager and the county manager worked diligently to identify a credit of $200,000 in this current fiscal year and a credit of $200,000 for next fiscal year. So I want to thank each of them for their time for that, as well as the sheriff and the lab director for getting this study done. With that, the expected use should result in approximately a $550,000 cost for our use of those services this year. That does not count the $200,000 credit. It is expected the actual cost to our city this year should be approximately $350,000. Staff recommends approval, and I'm here for any questions.
That's a big difference. From a
Very big
million to
difference.
350.
Yes.
I love it. It's about time that we figured this out. Questions from the council? All right, seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion. Ms. Vanderwall.
I move to approve interlocal agreement AC-6173 with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office for forensic services for fiscal year 25-26 in an amount not to exceed $1 million.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, sir.
9.6, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of resolution number 3484, establishing priorities and annual application process to transfer all or a portion of the City of Sparks' annual allocation of private activity bond cap to qualified projects or programs. Miss Amy.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council. My name is Amy Jones, Housing Specialist. I am before you today to recommend the adoption of Resolution 3484, establishing priorities and an annual application process for the transfer of the city's annual allocation of private activity bond cap. The state of Nevada receives an annual allocation of private activity bond cap based on the state's population. The allocation is divided in half, and 50% is initially distributed to the counties and municipalities throughout the state based on local population. And the remaining portion is distributed to the Director of the State of Nevada Department of Business and Industry. Private activity bonds are tax-exempt bonds that provide financing for qualified projects or programs. Local jurisdictions have the opportunity to transfer a portion or all of their annual allocation to programs or projects that benefit their communities. If they do not transfer their allocation by August 31st of each year, the bonds will revert back to the state, and the Department of Business and Industry will determine how the bonds will be distributed. In past years, the city has received unsolicited requests for the transfer of the city's private activity bond cap from the Nevada Rural Housing Authority for their homeownership program supporting City of Sparks residents, and the Nevada Housing Division for the development of affordable multifamily rental housing in Washoe County, and their homeownership programs also supporting City of Sparks residents. Staff is recommending council consider adopting a formal annual application process and priorities in an effort to guide the transfer of the city's annual allocation of private activity bond cap. An annual application process provides a regular and transparent process for various entities to apply to utilize the city's private activity bond cap with the priorities set by council. The City of Reno and Washoe County do have similar processes in place. Eligible uses of private activity bond cap include infrastructure projects serving a public purpose, such as transportation or utility facilities, as well as homeownership programs and the development of multifamily rental housing. Funding infrastructure projects requires substantially more private activity bond cap than the city has available. The Department of Business and Industry receives an annual allocation of private activity bond cap and is more effective for private entities to go directly to the state to request that private activity bond cap for infrastructure projects rather than coming directly to the city. For this reason, staff is recommending council adopt Resolution 3484, prioritizing the city's annual private activity bond cap allocation to be transferred to qualified affordable housing projects and programs. Due to the need for affordable housing for City of Sparks residents, staff are proposing applications be assessed based on the following priorities. Number one, new construction, rehabilitation, or acquisition rehabilitation of multifamily affordable rental housing projects in the City of Sparks. Number two, homeownership programs supporting City of Sparks residents. And number three, new construction, rehabilitation, or acquisition rehabilitation of multifamily affordable rental housing projects in Washoe County.
By adopting priorities, the Sparks City Council will formally prioritize affordable multifamily rental housing projects and homeownership programs located in the city of Sparks above programs and projects more broadly serving Washoe County. The proposed priorities will allow the city to accept direct requests from developers for projects in the city of Sparks. Additionally, staff is proposing the annual timeline shown on the slide for the solicitation of applications to allow private entities to request the transfer of the city's private activity bond cap for qualified eligible housing projects or programs. April 1st, release applications for 60 days. May 30th, close the application window. June, the state will announce the annual private activity bond cap allocation for the counties and municipalities. In July, staff would assess applications based on council priorities. August, staff will make a recommendation to the Sparks City Council regarding the programs and/or projects requesting transfer of the city's private activity bond cap. And September 1st is the deadline to notify the State of Nevada Department of Business and Industry how the city would like its private activity bond cap to be distributed. This concludes my presentation. There is a recommended motion listed on the screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just missed it. What's about the average amount that the city of Sparks receives, or maybe projected to be awarded? I saw in here it ranges anywhere from 6.6 million to 7.4. Are we expecting roughly about the same amount?
We received 7.4 million in bond cap last year. It is based on population, so that number does increase year over year as our population is growing.
Okay, and I guess going back to the presentation, sorry, bear with me. Between the priorities of new construction for affordable housing, rental, things like that, homeownership, about how much goes to helping families attain like rental assistance, stuff like that in the past?
So with our private activity bond cap, the programs that have assisted households in the past are homeownership programs. So those are through the Nevada Rural Housing Authority and then the Nevada Housing Division. So they are directly helping families purchase homes, and that can be through down payment assistance or a mortgage credit program. So it's not rental assistance, it's more directly supporting the homeownership. And then as far as the multifamily, that is going toward the development of those projects. And then any type of rental assistance would come later from another entity, say the Housing Authority. Does that answer your question?
Ish. I guess I'm more concerned, like, because I look at these priorities and they're great. I guess I'm just a little bit more kind of concerned for those who can't, you know, maybe they don't have the credit score, they don't have the history or things like that, or they're falling on hard times. So I guess my concern is to more of the people that can't afford a home. That's not even in their, you know, unfortunately, it's not in their near future. So those who need that rental assistance or needs that housing, maybe there's some federal programs that are coming to an end and they need to stay in a home or need that rental assistance. I guess that's where I'm asking, like, how much in the past has Sparks supported those type of individuals?
So rental assistance would not be an allowable use of private activity bond cap.
Okay.
So it has not supported that in the past, if that answers your question.
But this is more for the construction of building those affordable rental
That is
housing.
correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Ms. Bybee.
So Amy, on the, when you looked at the uses, you also had multifamily in Washoe County, as well as the city of Sparks. Would the city of Sparks, I would hope, have a priority over Washoe County? Kind of curious how we wrap Washoe County into it, or do we have a possibility of there be a bigger private equity bond money that we'd be able to utilize? I just want to make sure Sparks does it have a priority? I guess that's my question.
So with the three priorities listed, number one would be if we received application, say we received two application, one is for a project in City of Sparks and one is in Washoe County. Based on those three priorities, the one in the City of Sparks would rank the highest because that is our number one priority, putting the multifamily affordable housing projects in the City of Sparks first. Then we want to look at the homeownership programs, again, supporting our City of Sparks residents. Then if we're just getting an application, we don't have anything specific to the City of Sparks, but it's in Washoe County, we would want to prioritize that as well because it is benefiting our area. You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else? All right, I'm looking for a motion then. Ms. Vanderwell.
First, I'd like to say, I want to thank staff for this. I think this is a great movement in the way of expanding homeownership in the City of Sparks and then also getting affordable units. So thank you so much for that. I move to approve the adoption of resolution number 3484, establishing priorities in an annual application process to transfer all or a portion of the City of Sparks' annual allocation of private activity bond cap to qualified projects or programs.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.7, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an interlocal agreement AC 6159 between the City of Sparks and Washoe County for the conduct of the 2026 primary and general elections in an estimated amount of $30,000. No cents.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lisa Hunderman, your city clerk for the record. Before you today I am seeking approval for the contract with Washoe County to conduct the 2026 primary and general elections. State law and city charter make clear that elections should remain under the control of the city council, but they also allow the city to enter into agreements with the county to carry out the election. The city has entered into an agreement with Washoe County since 2002 for election processes. And on December 8th, 2025, City Council adopted Ordinance 2660, authorizing the city to enter into the agreement with Washoe County for the 2026 election. And the agreement before you today formalizes that authorization. Under this agreement, Washoe County conducts the operational aspects of the election using their established infrastructure, while the Sparks City Clerk's Office and city staff remain actively involved and maintain city oversight over the municipal election responsibilities. In exchange, the city pays the Washoe County 15 cents per active registered voter, plus reimbursement for actual costs attributed to the city's portion of the election. The estimated total cost for the 2026 primary and general elections is $30,000. This reflects continued growth in registered voters, potential ballot questions, and increased election activity driven by same-day voter registration and automatic voter registration. For context, the combined total for the 2024 primary and general elections was $21,250. Based on this longstanding partnership with the county, the defined cost structure, and continued city oversight, staff recommends approval of the interlocal agreement with Washoe County for the conduct of the 2026 primary and general elections. That concludes my presentation, and I am happy to answer any questions.
All right, questions from the council? All right, thank you very much. We're looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the interlocal agreement AC-6159 between the City of Sparks and the Washoe County for the conduct of the 2026 primary and general elections in an estimated amount of $30,000.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. I don't think you're for 9.8, are you?
I am.
Solid waste? Oh, I just read the first letter. 9.8, consideration discussion. I'm entertaining myself up here. I apologize. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an amended and restated solid waste and recycling exclusive franchise agreement, AC 3704, amendment number 2 between the City of Sparks and Reno Disposal Company, DBA Sparks Sanitation. Ms. Hunterman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Lisa Hunterman, your city clerk for the record still. Before you today is the proposed amended and restated solid waste and recycling exclusive franchise agreement with Reno Disposal, doing business as Spark Sanitation. We know them better as Waste Management, which is how I will refer to them for the rest of the presentation. Waste Management currently holds the exclusive franchise for residential solid waste, which has been in place since 2008. And there was a major update to that exclusive franchise in 2015, adding single stream recycling. This proposed agreement before you extends the franchise 10 years through June 30th of 2038, which ensures continuity of service and stability for both the city and Waste Management. As part of the agreement, Waste Management will pay the city an annual payment of approximately $1 million, which will be distributed in monthly installments, in addition to the existing 14% franchise fee with annual adjustments tied to the Consumer Price Index. Along with this long-term financial commitment, the amended agreement, includes several key updates and protections designed to improve fairness and accountability while ensuring consistency in how services are defined and delivered. These updates clarify important definitions such as residential and commercial premises, overages, contamination, and unacceptable waste, helping ensure expectations for services and compliance are clearly established for both the city and Waste Management. Additionally, the agreement formalizes procedures for addressing overages and contamination, including notice requirements and the application of fees for repeated violations. For commercial customers, environmental and fuel surcharges will be eliminated and incorporated directly into standard service rates, resulting in more predictable and transparent billing. In addition, the agreement establishes a low-income grant program funded and administered by Waste Management. This program will provide up to $20,000 per year to qualifying households, helping ensure continued access to essential solid waste and recycling services. Finally, the agreement formalizes the franchise fee increase from 8% to 14%, as was originally directed by the City Council in May of 2025, and preserves competition for services outside the exclusive franchise, such as commercial recycling and construction waste. Taken together, these provisions strengthen city oversight, clarify services and fees, and ensure the franchise operates as intended. For these reasons, staff recommends approval of the amended and restated solid waste and recycling exclusive franchise agreement. That does conclude my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions, and I also do have Eric Lynch from Waste Management in the audience with you if council has any questions directly for them.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you. Just one quick question. How's, maybe this is for Waste Management, for the assistance, the financial assistance, how do we get that word out to individuals that may need that? Is there any advertisement of that or?
Yeah, we have our own communications.
Why don't you come up, give us your name for the record?
Hi, I'm Eric Lynch. I'm with Waste Management. They're director for public sector for Northern California, Nevada. Subbing in for Kendra today. We have our own communications department, so we will have, we will work with the city to lay out a whole, structured, it will be out on social media, we'll send it out on postcards, everything will get the word out for that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, anyone else? All right, then I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
I move to approve the amended and restated solid waste and recycling exclusive franchise agreement, AC 3704. Oh, it keeps moving. Amendment number 2 between the City of Sparks and Reno Disposable Company, DBA Sparks Sanitation.
Ms. Spivey.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now hustle up here, Madam Clerk. We have no action items unrelated to planning and zoning. We have no items on planning and zoning public hearing. Oh, yes, sorry. We do have planning and zoning public hearings. 11.1, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second reading, public hearing, discussion, and possible adoption of Bill number 2847, an ordinance to rezone a 0.75 acre parcel located at 2221 Pyramid Way, APN 027-33214, from PO Professional Office to C1 Neighborhood Commercial, and a 0.46 acre parcel located at 860 Tyler Way, APN 027-33213, from MF5 Multifamily Residential to C1 Neighborhood Commercial.
Hi, Danny.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Danny Ray, Senior Planner with the city, here to present this item to you today. So this request seeks City Council consideration to rezone two adjacent parcels located at the northwest corner of Pyramid Way and Tyler Way. Together, those two parcels total 1.21 acres, and they're shown here outlined in red. The 0.75 acre parcel, which is located here on the right side at 2221 Pyramid Way, is currently zoned PO, or Professional Office, and is developed with a building that was constructed in 1964 and most recently contained a financial institution use with a drive-through facility and an ATM. Adjacent to the left is the 0.46 acre parcel located at 860 Tyler Way. It's currently zoned MF5, or multifamily residential, and is developed with a two-story professional office building that was constructed in 1977. Both of these buildings are currently vacant. The buildings, The applicant wants to rezone both parcels from MF5 for 860 Tyler Way and PO for 221 Pyramid Way to C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning. The Sparks Comprehensive Plan land use designation for both parcels is commercial, and the proposed C1 zone is a conforming zoning district within the commercial land use designation, so comprehensive plan amendment is not required for this request. The map on the left shows the existing zoning, here outlined in blue, and the map on the right shows the proposed zoning. A mix of attached and detached single-family residences and commercial uses surround the site. To the north of the subject site is the Pyramid Professional Center complex located in the PO zoning district. To both the west and the east of the subject site are single-family residential uses in the SF6 zoning district, and uses to the south include a fueling station, a self-serve car wash, and an office building located also in the C1 zoning district. The proposed C1 zoning allows an increased number of commercial and institutional uses compared to the current MF5 and PO zoning districts, including potential drive-through uses. The tables shown here on your screens illustrate the 5 highest trip generation uses available in the C1 zoning. The top 3 uses with the largest potential net increase in trip generation are convenience store, 3,890 average daily trips, gas station with 3,415, and drive-through with 2,389 average daily trips. The City Council may recall that it adopted an ordinance in June of last year that requires a conditional use permit to establish a new drive-through use facility or intensify an existing drive-through facility if peak hour trips increase by more than 10% over the originally approved use. The CUP process requires project-specific trip generation analysis and allows conditions of approval to be placed on a project to mitigate any adverse effects. And with that, I've completed the background and analysis on this presentation. Now move to the findings for City Council consideration. So rezoning the subject parcels from MF5 and PO to C1 as proposed would expand the range of commercial, office, entertainment, institutional, and multifamily residential uses that could establish on the subject site, supporting goals MD1 and MD2. Subject parcels were developed in 1964 and 1977 and are located in a previously developed area where city services are already being provided at acceptable levels, supporting policy CF1.
This rezoning request from PO and MF to C1 would allow for a range of uses to establish on the site, either by right as permitted uses or with an approved CUP, provided impacts to the surrounding neighborhood can be mitigated. This range of uses is compatible with the mix of land uses surrounding the site, which are generally commercial, professional office, and single-family housing products, making finding Z2. Notices were mailed on November 4th of 2025 to 226 separate owners of property within 750 feet of the subject site, and notice of the request was also published in the Reno Gazette-Journal. At the time of this meeting, staff has received one inquiry for additional information, and we've not received any public comment in support or opposition of this item. The Planning Commission considered this item at their December 18th, 2025 meeting and has recommended approval of this zoning request to the City Council. So I've included the recommended motion on the screens, and this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, as is the applicant.
Question from the council? Okay. Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, this is a public hearing.
It's right there. This is a public hearing. When in public wishing to speak, we have a few public in their audience. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. Now we're looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to adopt Bill number 2847 to rezone a .75 acre parcel located at 2221 Pyramid Way from PO Professional Office to C1 Neighborhood Commercial on a .46 acre parcel located at 860 Tyler Way from MF5 Multifamily Residential to C1 Neighborhood Commercial based on findings Z1 through Z3 and the facts supported these findings as outlined in the staff report.
Mr. Rodriguez. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Comments from the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone in the public wishing to speak? Seeing none. Announcements from the mayor, city council, and city manager. Mr. Manager, you have anything? Council, do you have anything? Mayor has nothing. We are adjourned.
Don't forget, we have RDA.
No, can forget about that. RDA. You got anything in RDA, Chronic? Or you just want to sit and see how government works? Redevelopment.
Yeah. Give like 2 minutes.
Well, if you can wait 2 minutes, that's all it'll take. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes too long.
Yeah. If the chair would get started, we'd be going.
We'll call today's Structured Development Agency meeting Monday, January 26th with a roll call.
Chair Abbott,
Here.
agency members Vanderwell,
Here.
Anderson is absent, Lawson,
Here.
Bybee,
Here.
Rodriguez,
Here.
Chief Legal Officer Duncan,
Here.
Chief Administrative Officer Louthan.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll open item 3.1 for public comment. I don't see any public here, so I don't believe we have any. I'm assuming 4.1, approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion. Agency member Vanderwell.
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you very much. Agency member Rodriguez. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously with all members present. Item 5.1, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the minutes of the Structured Development Agency meeting for December 8th, 2025. Looking for a motion. Agency member Rodriguez. We have a motion. Can I get a second? Agency member Vanderwell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously for all members present. Item 6.1, consent items. Consideration and possible acceptance of the reports of the claims and the bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period November 22nd, 2025 through January 12th, 2026. Looking for a motion. Agency Member Bybee.
I move to accept the report of claims and bills and the appropriation transfers for the period of November 22nd, 2025 through January 12th, 2026.
Thank you. Agency Member Vanderwell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously with all members present. No 7 items. 8.1, comments from the public. Still don't see any public. So we'll close that item. 8.2, any announcements from agency or chief administrative officer? Head shaken. Nope. Perfect. Then we'll move on to item 9, adjournment. Adios.